Alright guys, today I'm going to start working on my shelter videos. It's kind of bright out here today. I'm not sure how well you can see all of this, but we're going to start with the Siberian hitch. We'll go around a tree, and I like to take out about, at least a foot past my hand right there or so. Okay, we take that, wrap that over our hand, grab all those together, come around, grab that piece from our hand, get the bug off your head, pull that out. Once it's pulled tight, take it right up to the tree, okay, like that. All right. Now we'll go to the other side, get the trucker's hitch. All right, before I get to the trucker's hitch, I kind of intentionally did this too short, okay? I'm not to the tree yet, I still got another 10 feet to go, but just for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna tie these two together with the double fisherman's bend. So what I like to do on that is take the two end points. Can you see? Yeah, okay. Take the two end points, take those out to about shoulder width apart, right about there, okay? And then find the center of where those two meet at. Move this camera so you can see it a little better. Okay, I got my center point, shoulder width apart. I go one time around my forefinger, two times around, and then on the third time, pull that loop off your finger and tuck the tag end through the hole that your finger was on. Okay, then pull that out. Okay, then we do the same thing on the other side. What I like to do on the other side, move over again here. On the other side, what I do is I just take the rope, flip it around, so I'm doing the identical knot two times. Pull them out like this. We go one time over a forefinger, two times over, and on the third time, take it off my finger, take that tag end through that hole that we made, pull that out. There you've got your double fisherman's knot. Okay, so for the trucker's hitch, I am 1 foot, one leg away from the tree, okay? I like to go ahead and wrap around the tree. That's my preference anyway. On the end that's coming from the other tree, right here, I will make my loop in there. Grab the side that is going to that tree. Pull that through. I'm doing this backwards now, that's all right. Okay, I got my loop right there. I'll take the end that goes to this tree, pull it through, and get some tension on that line. Pinch them all together. Make a small loop on that side. It's not wanting to stay there. I do that a little differently than you guys teach on the class. I just throw the whole thing over and grab it through like that. Pull it back to my fingers, tighten it up, straighten that loop out just a little bit. All right, now that loop I'm going to use on my tarp. Okay, so I've got my tarp here, spider and all. Granted, in the wintertime, I would be using a tarp that's got a reflective surface on it. Right now, it's packed away in one of my bags. This one is a little lighter to carry. So what I am going to do is I've got the small rope right here. I just put that through the loop on the tarp, like so. And basically do a lark's head with it. Just pull it over like that, okay? Then you can attach these two loops together with a toggle. Let me find a stick. They can be done with a stick, tent peg, whatever you choose. Okay, that is, then what I do then is I take this and I pull it up tight. Okay, like that. So let's go do the other end. Okay, for this end, we're going to tie the prusik knot, okay? My door keeps slamming behind me over there on my shop. Just going to let that go for now. So for the prusik knot, put it on the rope, and you go 1, 2, 3 times. And get all that pulled together. Get it dressed up a little bit there. It slides, and it's got good tension on it. Okay, so now we got our tarp here. Grab another stick off the ground. I'm going to take my string that I put a prusik on, put it through, put that toggle through there, and then we can pull that tight, just like that. All right, now let's get the back set up. All right, I got 2 tent pegs. I grab this end, put a tent peg through the loop. I'll stick that in loosely for now and adjust it after I get this side staked in. Okay, so we've got both sides staked. Pull this one out, make it tight. Just like that. Okay, for the super shelter, I got my painter's tarp here. Let me find out which end the long end is. And I hate working with these things in the wind. They are just not any fun at all. Okay, so the first thing I like to do, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that side. I'll take the corner of this and I'll just tie it through the loop that's on the tarp. Whether it's a loop, whether it's a grommet, you should be able to get this through there and tie it on. Okay, so I've got that side tied on. Take a little slack out of our prusik knot. All I'm doing here is binding the plastic against the tarp. Okay, we'll pull that back out. And now all of those are tied together. Okay, I'm gonna do the same on the other side real quick. Okay, I got my corner right there. I'm just going to tie it through the loop just like I did that side. By tying it on there, it makes it a whole lot easier to work with this thing. Okay, I'm going to take this piece of log in a survival situation. this would be a longer piece. But you put it down like that, and it would come all the way out to the end here. And then you've got this excess, which you could actually wrap around and connect up here to close the ends in. Okay, for the plow point now, moving on, I got the painter's tarp off for the plow point. I'm gonna pull up the corners. I'm gonna pull off the far side of the tarp and take the corners back. Okay, so I got my back corner here. I'm gonna take it about there and I'll put it in at a 45-degree angle. Let me move that camera for you. See what I'm doing here. I gotta get another tent stake. Okay, I've got a tent stake going in this side. There. This tent stake, pull out to here. Tough ground. My personal preference, it would be higher than that. The ridge line would be considerably higher once it's all said and done. But that is the plow point shelter. Okay, for the A-frame, I'm going to lower the ridge line just a little bit. Take this down to about waist high. I'm going to actually do the other side first. We're going to do the Siberian hitch side. Now we'll do the trucker's hitch. Wait a minute, that's not low enough. Just below waist high. Alright, so we throw our tarp over. Like that. Take a tent peg, put it in the corners, stake them out. Actually, this video was done with extra pieces of line. This one is attached to the tarp. Over here, we'll stake it out above the ground. And I'll fix this other side over here. Put our line loop through the loop on the tarp and basically just do a lark set on it. like that. Stake it out above the ground. All right, got 2 more corners to go. That peg. At a 45-degree angle. One more tent peg. One more piece of rope. I'll probably just end up leaving these on there so I don't have to do all this next time. Span that out. All right, so there is my A-frame. Get it tightened out. I like it. All right, so to fly the tarp, I'm gonna raise the ridge line up and we'll fly it. Had a little trouble getting that knot undone. Okay, for this one, I'm gonna go up at about head high. Okay, now I'll go do the other side where the trucker's hitch is. Okay, for this, I'm going to use trucker's hitch. I'll just take this piece off that I've got right here. Let me make sure you can see what I'm doing. I don't know if you can see that or not. One, two, three. Knots getting in the way. 2, 3. Okay, so now we got our prusik on there. Put the line through the loop on the tarp, put a toggle in, a stick. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other end. It's a windy one out here today. I've learned that I prefer to have the knot on top when I'm wrapping. 1, 2, 3. My tarp to leave. Take our stick, put it through there. Pull that out tight. Now I gotta do the sides. Now if I was in the woods, I would probably tie this off to a tree right there. I'm not. There's no tree right here, so I'm just going to stake this down for the stake. Right there. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Take a little adjustment to get it there, but it'll get there. Okay, we got that one staked in. I'm going to loosen this side a little bit. I'll stretch this side out a little bit more. So essentially, that is now flying. All right, we got all that out of the way. Man, it's hot out here. So, conduction, convection, radiation, respiration, perspiration. The 5 ways that you can lose heat. Conduction is a loss of heat if you're, for instance, sitting on a cold surface. Or if you're laying on a cold surface. If the surface that you're on, the ground, the rock, whatever it is, if you're on one of those surfaces that's cooler than your body temperature, it's going to be sucking heat out of your body, so you want to avoid those. If you're in one of these shelters, put down a moisture barrier, a trash can liner, or something similar to that, to keep you from losing heat to conduction. Convection. And convection is the cooling by air, which is good and bad, of course. This type of shelter, the fly allows a lot of air to flow through there. Days like today, it's hot out here, so I really would appreciate having this shelter over the super shelter. If you want to stay warm, make sure you know where that's coming from. For me, most of my weather comes out of the southwest and just heads this direction. The winds usually come from the west direction, so I would set my shelter up to where I'll be on this side of it and it wouldn't be hitting directly on me, or I'd turn it a little bit so the wind would go past me and the fire and take the smoke away. Radiation. That is the loss of heat due to exposed skin. Today, I'm sweating. Humidity's high, so it's not really evaporating and removing the heat like I'd like it to, but that's what radiation is. Radiation is the loss of heat through your skin. If it's cold out, you don't want to over sweat, because then your body gets hot, it sweats, and then the cool air can cool you too much. So layers, dress in layers so that you can remove layers as needed so you don't overheat in the wintertime when you're working. Respiration. Respiration. Breathing, like I'm doing right now. I'm breathing because it's hot out here and I've been working out here for 3 days now. So anyway, respiration, the moisture out of your breath in the wintertime can cause condensation on the inside of your shelter, which is of course why you don't want to wrap up completely inside your sleeping bag and have all of that moisture, can't think of the word, I'm a little tired, have all that moisture building up inside your sleeping bag, because it will cause a lot of condensation, which in the wintertime can turn to ice, which can make you colder, getting back to your skin temperature. Perspiration, sweating, kind of already covered that. In the summertime you sweat, the wind and low humidity carries the heat away from your body, and that's why we sweat. God made us to sweat, so that's how we release heat from our body. Again, in the wintertime, you don't want to perspire. because that could cause issues with getting too cold very easily. So that's the heat loss mechanisms. Wind, wood, water, widowmakers, wigglers. Let's talk about those. Wind, of course, determines how you set your shelter up. For me, like I said, it comes from the west usually. I would set my shelter up so that the wind would carry the smoke past and away from my shelter, so I'm not having to breathe that all night long. Wind, wood. Set your camp up where you've got access to wood. I live on 15 acres here. 14 of them are wooded. Right here where I'm sitting, this is where our house is built. We had this cleared. It was wooded when we bought it, and so I've got plenty of firewood around here right now. But you want to make sure that you're within probably 100 yards of some decent wood. You don't want to be too far away so you don't have to carry it very far to get back to your camp. Wind, wood, water. Set your camp up 100 feet, no more than 100 yards, but probably 100 feet from water source. I've got a creek going on both sides of my house. They are not full-time running creeks. They are runoff from the mountain to the north of me. However, I have never seen either one of them completely dry. In the dry months, if we're having a drought, yes, they do dry up. But I know that there's places right up here at the corner of my property. There's a hole dug out there where the culvert goes through. I've never seen that dry. I've been here 5 years. It's always had water in it. On the east side, there's a small creek that runs down through over there, and it has water in it year round. Not always running, but at least it's there, so I've got access to water. But you want to set that, you want your camp to be within probably 100 feet of a good water source. Not too close that it's going to flood you, not too far that you have to go so far to get it. 100 feet to 100 yards is a good, for me, a good distance of what I like to be at. So it's wind, water, wood, widowmakers. Widowmakers, the big limbs that fall down out of your trees and can hit you on the head. I have a lot of those around here. I'm always looking up. I've got a pine tree 25 feet from me right there. The limbs are not above my head, but I would not camp under that tree. Pine trees are not strong. The limbs die, they stay on there for a long time, then they just fall out of nowhere. I've got a lot of pines out in the woods behind me, and I'm always careful. And anytime I have company out here, I always tell them, be careful, if they're camping, of course. And don't camp under the pine trees. We do have plenty of hardwoods that we can go to and set up there. So you want to avoid the widowmakers. Also, a widowmaker could just be simply a falling tree. Doesn't matter if it's a pine or not. It could be a hardwood. It still has a potential to fall if it's a dead tree. So make sure you check for those as well. Wind, water, wood, widowmakers, wigglers. As I was setting up one of these shelters out here on the video, I saw a granddaddy crawling around inside there. That's a wiggler. So what I would do is I would get a stick or something, kind of scrape out the area below me, make sure that there's nothing, you know, a snake in the leaves or anything like that that's gonna cause a bad night's sleep. I did forget one thing. I'm gonna back up. I think that covers the 5 W's, okay? But the one thing on what is it? Conduction. And conduction, the arm method, okay? In the summer months like now, spring months for the most part, a hand's length of insulation below you to prevent conduction to the ground, so it's not sucking the heat out of your body. In your fall months, go up to the elbow. You want to have that much compressed material underneath you to prevent the heat getting sucked into the ground from your body. In the winter months, go up to the shoulder. You want it to be this deep, compressed, to make sure that the heat doesn't escape. I forgot to mention that earlier. So anyway, guys, this was a long video. Thanks for sticking with me through it. We'll see you on the next one.